What is going on, everyone? It is Mark here with another video, and today we are talking keyboard. So if you watched any of my desk tours, you've noticed that I've always had an Apple keyboard there. And a lot of the time I always got a little bit of grief for that because, you know, they weren't mechanical keyboards. But I was a huge fan of these keyboards. For me, what my primary use was to edit and do some mild typing here and there, some Excel, some pretty light keyboard use. And I love this thing. This thing is light, key has good travel, I'm a huge fan of them. But lo and behold, came out my desire to become a pro gamer. I'm terrible. Using these Apple keyboards, I was finding that more and more as my skills progressed, my keyboard was holding me back, was hitting, I was slipping keys, the whole 9 yards, right? It was just not a very pleasant experience, and I felt like, you know, there was room to improve in my hard world game in terms of video games. I mean, these keyboards are fantastic. I'm a huge fan. With mechanical keyboards, there are so many people that manufacture them. There's so many different kind of switches. You know, it's a little bit overwhelming. I'm gonna be 100% honest. So what I did is I kind of read some reviews and then I made a gamble. That's what happened, and I am very happy with my said gamble. So let me tell you what I purchased. I wasn't a real believer in this until I started, you know, using it. So I don't even have the box. The box is already in the recycling somewhere. But here's the keyboard. I purchased myself a Logitech G610 mechanical keyboard. This thing is amazing, like hands down. So the big difference between a regular keyboard, a non-mechanical keyboard, and a mechanical keyboard is the switches, is the tactile feedback of you pressing the key. And within that, there is a huge kind of variety of styles of mechanical keyboard. They go everything from blue, brown, black, green, red, clear. Like there's a huge array of, so before you even think about buying a mechanical keyboard, you kind of have to be familiar with what all of this means and what they actually feel like. So I read descriptions, but after I've purchased this, I noticed that they actually sell these little kits where they have all the switches, kind of like a little sample pack, and you can actually feel them. I'm very lucky because I actually got the one I was looking for. But yeah, so these are the Cherry MX Red switches, and they have a little bit of a more clicky sound, but not overly clicky. There's a few mechanical keyboards where it like literally sounds like you're breaking your knuckle every time you press. For me, that wasn't enjoyable. One of the things that I liked about the Apple one was they're very quiet. So this is obviously significantly louder, but it's in that middle point of switches. So I got pretty lucky with the switches I chose. I'm a huge fan of them, but if you're not sure which switches you like, I highly recommend getting one of the trial packs of 5 or 6 keys there. Anyway, so let me quickly go over the actual keyboard that I purchased. So like I said before, this is the Logitech G610 keyboard, fully mechanical, cherry red switches. It is a full-size keyboard, which is fantastic. And one of the biggest things that kind of drew me to this keyboard over others, I'm not sure why, but it's this volume kind of wheel here where you can increase, decrease the volume, you can mute it, you have a little bit of a media center there, which is one thing that I really like from the Apple keyboard again, is that I can actually interact with my computer in specific ways in terms of media. And of course, no gaming keyboard would not be complete with some lights. If you download the application that kind of interacts with this keyboard, you can have a huge variety of light sequences. This keyboard here only has white backlighting. I don't like RGB. I find that kind of sometimes a little bit kind of distracting, but I like the backlighting. Everything's beautiful. You can have a wave, you can have a pulse, you can have all of these cool little trinkets to kind of make it your own. Another awesome thing about this keyboard is that you can have a profile for a certain use of this keyboard. So you have, I believe, 5 or 6 profiles that you can choose from, and depending on what you're doing with the keyboard, your shortcuts will be different. So for example, if I want to play League of Legends, Fortnite, or whatever, you can just start hitting these different kind of presets to kind of customize your keys, which is awesome because not all games require the same controls. Of course, it is a wired cable. That is the biggest thing that kind of scared me away from mechanical keyboards in the past is this cable, but realistically it's one cable on your desk, not the end of the world. For that, you get an awesome keyboard. Another thing that I really like about this keyboard is that it's built so well. It is very kind of heavy keyboard. It's planted on your desk. It doesn't slide around when you're in game or typing or anything like that. So that's a huge, huge plus. And plus the keys. Again, I always stress the keys on this keyboard. They are fantastic. They're the perfect middle ground. If you're looking, obviously get the little sample if you're very serious, but I'm a huge fan of the reds, so maybe you will be too. So I don't always like to admit if I was wrong, but I was wrong. Mechanical is always better for some things. I will of course leave a link down in the description for this particular keyboard and the sample keys. But if you like this video, please hit that like, share, and subscribe buttons down below. It always helps the channel grow. Did that just rhyme? For additional brownie points, please follow me on all my social media. Links can be found, of course, down in the description as usual. But for now, thank you, and I will see you on the next one.